This is NavPilot 1989. I'm making my first instructional video to post on YouTube. Thought it'd be a good idea because I know I've gone to YouTube many times to figure out how to do things, fix things, make things, and I figured this is kind of my way of giving back. I'm a pretty crafty person. I like making things, and so one thing that I've wanted to make for a long time that I finally did make was a replica Bioshock ADAM syringe. I'm a pretty big video game, movie buff. I like to collect and create movie stuff, replicas, as you can see from the background stuff. I mean, got Jack Sparrow's sword there, got sword from Game of Thrones over there. So yeah, it's just my hobby. I like to collect movie props and build them. So anyway, when I was looking how to make these ADAM syringes, mine was like an amalgamation of many different people's ideas. I went to Googled how to do it, went to deviantart.com, which was great, by the way, and searched YouTube. I don't think I really found anything on YouTube, that's why I'm making this. So here is the final outcome of my project. I think it turned out really good. Probably a lot better than some that I've seen, and definitely not as good as others I've seen, but I think that's kind of like the magic of it. That's what makes it yours. And also, I mean, for any of you Bioshock buffs out there, which you probably are, because otherwise you wouldn't be trying to create your own ADAM syringe. Kind of off topic. Great book to read, Bioshock Rapture by John Shirley. It does it basically tells the history of Rapture from from Andrew Ryan's idea of it all the way up to probably just a few years before Jack arrives in Rapture. Anyway, I mention this because, as you'll know, I mean, Rapture fell into civil war when the Little Sisters were created, and these ADAM syringes probably were not, mass created, not an assembly line. They were scrounged from pieces of stuff all around Rapture. So it's kind of cool, realizing that how you make your ADAM syringe will be different than other people's, and that's not bad because that's probably how it should be. They all shouldn't be the same. So, first big ticket part about it is the handle. As you see here, this is a probably a 1940s, 50s gas syringe, and so you're probably wondering, where the heck did you get that? Believe it or not, eBay. You can find a bunch of people are selling these on eBay, and 2K really did their homework because, I mean, as you know, Bioshock takes place in the 1950s, and this is exactly what the Little Sisters used. So yeah, this whole part right here is all a gas handle. I bought mine on eBay. I think it was probably about $35, so not bad, and surprisingly light. I figured it'd be the heaviest part of the model, but it is not at all, actually. So there's that. Then the next is this. Well, we'll go to the ADAM container. So the baby bottle nipple is. I just got baby bottle nipples at Walmart. I think they came in like a 6-pack, and so I got that. And this kind of like rusty attachment point, I used epoxy. Just get an epoxy tube at your local hardware store. I just kind of molded it with my hands around to make like an attachment point. Some people, a lot of people, especially probably the really good ones, if you'll notice in the game, the nipple itself is actually kind of like pinkish, peachish. I tried doing that, I tried painting it, but with like silicone and it's squishy, the paint just does not stick. In fact, I don't think you can paint silicone. I tried latex paint, I tried mixing rubber cement with paint, doesn't work. So I actually emailed the first person to make a Bioshock ADAM syringe. He's a prop maker, and he said that he did something like he filled it with resin and then painted it, which that would definitely work. But I didn't like the fact that then the baby bottle nipple wouldn't be squishy. So I just left it as it is. I'm happy with it. The bottle. The bottle was actually, it's kind of strange. I was at the grocery store looking for jars that, you know, were an appropriate size, and I found it's red pepper jelly. Oh, who uses that? I didn't want red pepper jelly, but I thought it was perfect. Not only is it like the right size bottle, right color, but there's kind of like little flakes in it, which, you know, I don't know, to me it was like Adam would be kind of like skin particles or guts or whatever. It would just be straight blood, so I thought that was cool. So that's what I did there. Next is this attachment point. Again, local hardware store. It's just a metal pipe coupling, so you know how you would take a bigger pipe, connect it to a smaller pipe. That's all it is. This is actually the heaviest thing. I swear this thing is like 3 to 4 pounds. Galvanized metal, and it actually, with the jar lid off, it's a perfect fit. So to keep the jam from falling out, I filled it with epoxy. And actually, the epoxy, while it was still wet, I screwed it in, so it basically threaded itself, which was kind of nice. Galvanized metal, as you know, does not rust, so you're probably wondering how did I get this rusty look. I actually did rust it. I went online to figure out how to rust galvanized metal, and it's actually really cool. You soak it in vinegar overnight, and you rinse it in hot water, and it flash rusts in front of your eyes. Like you rinse it, and it basically rusts within a minute. It's really cool. So yeah, there's that. Next, so to cover that hole up, because obviously there's 2 holes, again, I used epoxy. I filled up the bottom and sanded it down to make it flat. And then I got a copper, I don't know what to call it. It's basically a copper tube that's got threading on both sides. And while the epoxy in here was still wet, I screwed it in. And then it dried, and it was in a rock solid. Next, to get this entire attachment onto the gas pump handle, I had to get a drill bit that can drill through metal, and I had to drill through this metal bolt here, which wasn't hard. It took like a minute. After that, I kind of threaded the tube in, and kind of took some elbow grease having to screw it in. But just to make sure it was in there solid, I got it's called JB Weld. It's a cold weld. It's kind of like an epoxy resin where you mix like 2 different equal parts of this goo and wrap it around, and it makes basically a cold weld. A weld, like it's hard as steel to use. So yeah, that's how I do that. To get this like little extension thing that I don't really know the importance of it. I just noticed it in the game. Again, it's just another copper tube with threading on both ends, and then a metal pipe cap. Just screw them together, stuck them in, screw them in. Next, the needle. Pretty simple. So how I saw other people do it is they use dowel rods. They took a dowel rod and tapered it down. Well, my hardware store, the dowel rods they had were pretty flimsy. So I ended up using a metal rod that they had. I had no means of tapering a metal rod to a point. So I talked to the people there, and they were nice enough to just take me in the back and let me use their metal grinder. It was great. So I just grinded mine down. I didn't make mine a sharp point because I don't plan on killing myself. So yeah, I don't want it to like fall off my wall and impale me. So yeah, it's pointy, but you know, unless it really falls, then yeah, it doesn't matter. Otherwise, let's see. All right, finally weathering it. Like I said, this I actually straight rusted right here. But otherwise, I just used an air gun. Well, first I took the raw product, so no paint, and I just hammered it. I took hacksaw to it just to make it look beat up, dropped, anything. Then I, yeah, let's see if I can get some more light here. There we go. Yeah. So I don't know, these like dark or these light silver looking parts, that's just like divots in the metal that I just hammered with the front and backs of a hammer. Take a crappy hammer, because probably isn't good for your hammer, but it worked. Yeah, then I just took an air gun, painted the whole thing kind of like copper. Then I took some black and just did kind of like this, what it looks like burn marks, dirt, which was great. And then in the divots, I just dry brushed with more copper paint and silver. If you don't know what dry brushing is, you dip your brush in the paint and you just wipe it on like cardboard or paper until it barely leaves paint. That's what you do. You just kind of swipe it. It makes like lines, like scratch marks. It's great. Then for the blood, I just took red paint and mixed it with black paint until it made kind of like a maroon. Because blood is, when it dries, I've seen dry blood, it kind of is like a maroonish brown. So that's what I did for that. And then just other little tiny details. Can't really see. I took my pinkies and dipped them in the paint and put them on to make like little bloody little sister fingerprints. So can't think of anything else. I also have the instructions written on. I posted pictures of this on deviantart.com, and I have pretty much everything I said here. I have typed up instructions for. So if this wasn't clear, if it was too fast, just go there. Also, leave me comments, send me a message. I will be happy to message you clarifying instructions or send you an email. Like I said, I'm here to help. I've been, I've emailed people who made this before and they helped me out. So obviously I will do the same thing. So yeah, it's a great thing to have. I'm really happy with it. I put it in my I've got mine hanging on the wall. It's kind of like my Bioshock corner. So yeah, really happy with it, and I hope this helps, and I hope you are happy with your final project. Take care. One thing I forgot to mention is a question somebody might be asking: how much did a project like this cost? Honestly, it did cost me a little bit of money, about $110. It was kind of expensive to build, but that was only because I didn't have any of the materials I needed. For those of you who have a workroom or whatnot at your house, you might have some of this stuff. Like you might have epoxy already. You might have some of these pipe caps and metal tubes. I did not. I didn't have anything, so I had to buy everything. So yeah, it was a little expensive for me. But if you have a lot of this stuff, you won't have a problem. Assuming you don't have a 1950s gas pump, so that's probably one of the few things you'll have to buy. But again, that only cost me $30. So yeah, again, expensive for me, but I'm perfectly happy with what I made, and I think it was worth it. And yeah, just thought I'd toss that out there. Take care.